What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm bringing you guys a mock draft, drafting from the 11th spot overall. Now, the reason I decided to go to the back half of the draft is earlier in July, I did a mock draft where we went very first overall. We went with the top pick, and I really liked it. So today, I wanted to see what it looked like at the 11th pick. And the reason I didn't go 12, which I know you're probably asking, is simply for the fact that I like to have a little surprise on the 12-13 turn, if you will. There's always the turn right there where you have to wait 2 picks, and it's kind of hell. I'm going to deal with it in one of my big leagues this year. So why not practice and why not see what exactly we're going to run into with the 11th pick? Now, roster settings for this is going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 5 bench spots. All right. So when we do this draft, right, the one thing I want to look at is how early the wide receivers and running backs go. Before this, when I would do this all over and over and over again, I would be getting Nick Chubb and an elite receiver at this turn. Without a doubt, every single time I at least got Nick Chubb. And that's a guy that I'm going to target again here. And you have to make a really tough decision at the back end of the draft. Right here at 11 and 12, you have to make a big decision because you really have 2 options. I guess technically 3. You could either go back to back, and you can secure yourself 2 elite receivers, 2 guys who are superstars. I can go Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, CD Lamb, Devontae Adams, any mixture of those 4 guys, and you're good. You're so good on receivers, and especially for me in a league where I have to start 3 of them, that's huge. Or you could split it, 1 receiver, 1 running back. I'd love to go I'd go Stephon Diggs and Nick Chubb here, or I could start it off, and I can go with Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs or Tony Pollard. A lot of options. Today, I think I'm going to split it. No, I'm not. I'm not going to split it. I lied. I think I'm going to go with 2 receivers. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs here. And this is what I'll do, actually. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs right here. And if Nick Chubb falls back to me at my next pick, I'll take Nick Chubb. And if not, I'll take another one of those elite receivers. I don't want to mess with the running back here outside of Nick Chubb. So I'm going to take Stephon Diggs. And if Chubb gets taken, we won't take him. He's taken. He's taken. So now I have to decide between Devontae Adams and CD Lamb. That's what I'm going to do. It's a tough pick to make. I really like CD Lamb. Devontae Adams scares me because of Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think I got to go with the proven superstar in Devontae Adams. So I'm going to take Devontae Adams here. And then we go and we wait. And this is the big issue with maybe going 2 wide receivers. What running back are we going to be getting on the way back another 20 picks later? We'll find out shortly. So after Devontae Adams goes, first quarterback off the board, Patrick Mahomes. Then we got Derrick Henry, CD Lamb, Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard, Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Chris Olave, Mark Andrews, a second tight end, DK Metcalf, Jalen Hurts, T. Higgins, Ramondre Stevenson, Joe Burrow, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Aaron Jones, and then me. That hurt right there. That group of running backs that just went hurts my soul because I like those guys so much. And I would have been really itching for some Ramondre Stevenson. I would have loved that. And then you're left with this group of Jamar Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce. It's a tough pick to make, but let's look at some receivers. Do we have anybody else that really makes me very interested in taking someone here? And Devontae Smith is there. I didn't take A.J. Brown, so that's a very tempting pick. So I think at this point, if we look at the overall board, I do like Lamar Jackson as well. Maybe let's wait on running back, because there are some guys that I'm not feeling really anyone that's really standing out to me here. I do like Dameon Pierce a lot, but we can probably wait and get one of these groups of guys that I really like. So I think this might turn out to be maybe a 0 RB approach. And let's go with Devonta Smith, who I think is just a step above those receivers. And I'm not really, eyeing out any one of those running backs specifically. So let's just go Devonta Smith and let's just lock down my 3 receivers right off the rip. So Jamar Gibbs goes, and then Lamar Jackson. That would have been really tempting for me to go Lamar there. If we do look at the quarterbacks, we do have Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott. Justin Fields, another guy who's pretty tempting right there. I could really just go zero RB approach and nail down my elite elite quarterback where I'd be pretty good. And if we look at tight ends, we still have TJ Hawkinson, George Kittle. I don't think I'm quite ready to take any of those guys yet. We can maybe look at it in the 5th round. But for right now, it's looking like we have some good receivers left. Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, Damian Pierce. For fun, I think I'm going to take Justin Fields. And then when we hit the 5th round, that's when I'm really going to start looking for my running back. So let's go with Justin Fields, and let's see what running backs come back to me in the 5th round on the long way back. So after our pick with Fields, we had Kenneth Walker, Deebo Samuel, Amari Cooper, J.K. Dobbins, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Calvin Ridley, Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Justin Herbert, TJ Hawkinson, DJ Moore, George Kittle, Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Damian Pierce, which I would have loved to get back to me, Terry McLaurin, and Christopher Godwin. So you can see on the way back, only 5 running backs went, and we're kind of depressingly, we're in no man's land right now for running backs. We have Cam Akers, Alexander Madison, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, guys that I like. We don't have Dalvin Cook quite yet on a team. I think he'll go to the Jets. So out of all of these guys, I think probably the safest bet. Now, Alexander Madison did just get hurt in practice, so we don't know how serious it is. But I think I'll go with Alexander Madison. I'm a big DeAndre Swift fan, but I think right now I need a guy that I can for sure know is going to play. And I'm feeling pretty confident that's going to be Alexander Madison. You could say James Conner as well, but I think with such a bad team, who knows, right? The Arizona's going to be really bad this year. Javonte Williams is coming off an injury. Is Rachaad White really even good? So a lot of these guys have question marks where I go, I think Alexander Madison, sure, has never really had the starting gig before, but it seems like Minnesota has no one else really there. Truthfully, anyone that has stood out in training camp preseason. So let's go Alexander Madison to solidify our first running back. And then as we scroll down, James Conner, Cam Akers went, and that leaves us with some iffy running backs. Now, I'm willing to wait, possibly, if we see a tight end that we like. We do have Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, and those are kind of the 3 I'm targeting. So I think I'm willing to take the risk as if we look at our board above us. See, the bad thing is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams that don't have our tight end, and there's 3 on the board that I like. So am I willing to wait for Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, and Darren Waller? And I really don't even want Kyle Pitts. I think maybe I am, and maybe we just solidify once again and we get another running back here, and we'll see on the way back if we have another tight end or maybe another receiver we really, really like. So let's look at the running backs. I do like DeAndre Swift, Dalvin Cook, Isaiah Pacheco, David Montgomery. Once you hit this group, you run out of guys that are actually pure starters. And my gut tells me DeAndre Swift. I just have a crazy feeling. I think he's super talented. I just actually made a video on him. If you want to check it out, please do. But let's go DeAndre Swift, and let's see what comes back to us on the long turn once again. All right, so on the way back, we had Marquise Brown, Dalvin Cook, Christian Kirk, Mike Williams. Sadly, I don't think our waiting for tight end is going to pay off with Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Michael Pittman, Rachaad White, Tyler Lockett, Javonte Williams, George Pickens, Alvin Kamara, Trevor Lawrence, David Montgomery, Dak Prescott, James Cook, Deontay Johnson, Darren Waller, Mike Evans. Darren Waller, which I was really hoping was getting back to me. That's a guy I really like this year. Mike Evans, AJ Dillon. Now we get back to where we go. Let's look at the overall board. So tight end, we lost a lot of the guys I like. I'm not really willing to spend the price on Evan Ingram, even though a 7th round pick probably isn't that bad. If we go overall board, these are the guys who are left. And it probably wouldn't have killed us to grab just another secure wide receiver 3 to 4-ish just to have as a backup on our team. But I kind of felt like we needed to go with a running back with DeAndre Swift. So that puts you in a tough spot. Right now, there are some running backs that I like. Isaiah Pacheco, Antonio Gibson. Jamal Williams could have a role. Khalil Herbert. I do like Khalil Herbert here at this price, 7th round. I mean, I think he's going to be the starter for the Bears. But right now, I think I'm going to take Isaiah Pacheco. go? I think I'll go Pacheco because I kind of, like I said before, I just need a guy who I know is going to be the starter, and I know that's going to be Pacheco. Pacheco's going to have his weeks where he gets 15 carries and hopefully scores me a touchdown, and that's kind of just what I need at this point. I can't really take the risk on Antonio Gibson, who I don't know, is he going to be splitting with Brian Robinson? Do they like him? They seem like they fall out of love with him every year. Zach Charbonnet's in a timeshare. Rashad Penny, I don't want him anyway because I had DeAndre Swift, but he gets injured a lot. So a lot of question marks where I feel like I kind of know Isaiah Pacheco's game. So let's go with Isaiah Pacheco. And that way I have 3 receivers, 3 running backs, 1 quarterback. And now we're looking for a tight end. Next one off the board was Treylon Burks. And we had our boy, Mr. Addison out of Minnesota. So we look at the board once again, and we're basically right back in the same position. We have Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jahan Dotson, Kadarius Toney. We have the tight end still here. It's tempting, but when I look at all these options, Michael Thomas is also an option. I kind of want to go with the rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba. They just say he looks so great out of training camp. I think I'm willing to take the risk. It seems like they're going to throw. I know there's a lot of options, but I think we go with it. That way we just have a good backup receiver off the bench, could possibly be a flex depending on the week. So let's go with Jackson Smith-Njigba, and let's take him here and see how our team looks. So after our pick with JSN, we had Quentin Johnston, David Njoku, Tua Tagovailoa, Jahan Dotson, Deshaun Watson, Antonio Gibson, Pat Freiermuth, Kadarius Toney, Brandon Cooks, Rashad Penny, Mike Thomas, Juju, Gabe Davis, Evan Ingram, Zach Charbonnet, Anthony Richardson, Jamal Williams, Brian Robinson, Kirk Cousins, Samaje Perine, and then we are back on the clock. I'm glad I took a receiver that I feel a little bit of confidence in because the group that we have here are kind of duds, I would say. I mean, I don't want to necessarily say duds. Zay Flowers or any of these guys could turn out to be something, but honestly, truthfully, who knows? We are left with some tight ends here that don't super interest me. I mean, maybe a Dalton Schultz, just because I've seen it before on a team that seems like they need targets. But I kind of want to just keep hitting the receivers or running backs here. I think I'm willing to wait and maybe another round on tight end. I'd rather probably grab a guy right now who we know is going to, play, is just going to be useful for my team, where a tight end is kind of a guess at this point. So let's take Khalil Herbert here. I can't believe he actually fell all the way back. I honestly forgot about him. We said we were going to take him thinking about it in the last round, and I forgot. So let's take him, and then that will give us 4 running backs that are kind of interchangeable on a team where we don't really have anybody that's super safe options, if you will. So let's go Khalil Herbert. And then the next 2 picks are Courtland Sutton, Zay Flowers. And then here, I think I'm willing to go after my tight end. I'm not willing to trust Dalton Kincaid. Everybody's hyping him up, but I can't trust the rookie tight end. It's never, ever, ever worked for fantasy football. It's never happened. So I'm not willing to go for it. Greg Dulcich had a little bit of a run last year. Tyler Higbee with the Rams has always been somewhat solid. And then out of these guys, I'm good. So I'm just going to go with Dalton Schultz. Maybe Cole Kmet was tempting, but I'm just going to go Dalton Schultz because I've seen him do it before. I've seen him be productive. I don't think he's a crazy talented player, but like I said, I've seen him be a big part of an offense before, especially when Houston has no targets really whatsoever. It's a lot of unknown guys there. So Dalton Schultz seems like he could be in for a pretty big season, at least in terms of targets. All right. So on the way back, a lot of guys went. I don't think it's worth going through the entire list. Now we're in a spot where we're just really taking shots. And, we have 3 more rounds left to take shots on guys where I'm not really even worried about, ADP. I'm willing to just take guys, whoever I see fit, whoever I'm really eyeing. So if we do look at maybe receivers, because we could probably use one more since I went a little shallow. I should have probably drafted one more a little earlier. Not a big deal. There's a couple guys. You have Tyler Boyd, who's going to have his decent weeks, but his upside's really capped. Darnell Mooney's coming off, I believe, a torn ACL. Jonathan Mingo's a rookie. Rondale Moore with Arizona with maybe Colt McCoy as their starter. Rice, Nico Collins. Nico Collins has been a guy that I'm kind of eyeing, and also Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt has been kind of showing out in camp. He's been a complete speedster. I don't love Daniel Jones, but just looking at some guys here. So one guy I continually draft is Nico Collins, and I think I'll just go for it here. He's 6'4", big receiver. Like I said, the Texans don't have a receiver. Sure, I have Dalton Schultz on the same team. Who cares? I'm just going to go for it. Hopefully, a dart lands. Then we go with running back one more time, maybe take another look at some of these guys. We do have the Jalen Warren, the Tank Bigsby, Jeff Wilson group. It's not anything that's really spectacular to me. It's nothing that I'm really eyeing up to greatly. So I think I might be willing to let's take a look at quarterbacks too, see if there's anyone else here. We still have Russ. Could always be great, could always bounce back on a group where there's not a lot of promising players. So we could take the shot on Russ and maybe just see, hey, maybe he just is a good backup for us. Let's do that. Usually I don't draft 2 quarterbacks, but I'll say screw it right now. Let's just see kind of, if Russell Wilson would work out for us as a backup option here late in the draft. And all right, we're back with our last pick. So as you can see, a lot of guys went off the board, but no one really special to me, no one I'm super eyeing up. So I think with this last pick, I do like Jalen Hyatt, and I think I'm just willing to take him. Why take the risk with any of these other guys? Jalen Hyatt could legitimately, if he's good, he could step in and just be maybe the number 1 receiver. I mean, doubtful, right? But it's my pick 13. Why not take it on a speedster who can maybe catch me some bombs and fill in weeks? So I'll go with Jalen Hyatt here at my last pick in round 13. All right. And then here we are. The draft is over. So my team turned out to be Justin Fields, running backs Alexander Mattison, DeAndre Swift, receivers Stephon Diggs, Devonta Smith, Davante Adams, Dalton Schultz, Isaiah Pacheco at the flex, JSN at our first bench spot, Khalil Herbert, Nico Collins, Russell Wilson, and Jalen Hyatt. After doing this draft, I don't love the idea of doing the quarterback early. I'm glad we have Justin Fields because he's super talented, but the thing that really worries me the most is that we missed out on another potentially really good receiver where we could have stocked up with 4, and we missed out on maybe a better running back where I could have taken maybe J.K. Dobbins, who I do really like. I think he could be in for a bounce back. We could have taken Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, someone to just be a kind of a guarantee play at the running back spot where Madison, Swift, Pacheco, I feel okay about Pacheco, but the Madison and Swift, these guys are complete unknowns, really. They're in new situations completely, and they're unknowns. So maybe taking another running back a spot earlier instead of Fields would have made me feel a little bit happier. But now I got an elite option at quarterback. I have basically 3 elite receivers. So I have a lot of specialty players, and maybe running back works out. I need one of those guys to really hit for me to be great in fantasy. So overall, I dig the team. That 3rd round pick of Devonta Smith coming back to me has been rare. I haven't had too much of that. Usually I fall in the Deebo Samuel, Amari Cooper group of receiver where I go, I don't know if I really want those guys as my wide receiver 3. So it was really great to see Devonta Smith actually fall to us to where I can go, I'm good at receiver. I never feel like I need to touch receiver ever again. I'm going to start these 3 guys every week unless I get injured or someone gets injured, and I feel pretty safe. And all right, that was my mock draft from the 11th spot, 0 RB, an early quarterback. What a combo, right? If you liked the video, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're just getting back into the swing of things, stay tuned. Stick around. More content coming all over August to get you guys ready for your drafts at the end of the month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.